More South Africans are expected to vote abroad than ever before. Does that mean our electoral process has got more efficient, or is it a sign that the grass is really greener away from this country? Many South Africans have still not registered, and you can't blame them for stalling when you see some of the names on the lists that were submitted yesterday. And now the Independent Electoral Commission is warning political parties and their members to behave or face 5 years in jail at least. What does that mean? Let's ask the Commission's chairperson, Glenn Mashinini. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Jane.
What's your warning there? What should we be looking out for?
Look, I mean, it's not a question of warning. It's that there are certain conducts that are prohibited, and there's a code of conduct. And if there are transgressions, and those matters can actually lead up to serious offences, which, if they are dealt with ultimately by our electoral courts, could lead to those consequences.
And I guess at the moment you're going through the lists and vetting everybody and making sure that they're kosher and ready to run, right? Have there been any parties that you've rejected?
No, at this stage we're waiting for the finalization of the list and the report from the Chief Electoral Officer. As the commissioners, we would be making the announcements once they finalize everything received.
And why would you reject a party? Under what sort of circumstances?
Well, it would be mainly situations where if that party does not comply with our Constitution and our Electoral Act, or it has not made the necessary payments, for example, that they're supposed to submit for the deposits.
Okay. Talk us through the fact that more people are voting from abroad than ever before. Is it because you become more efficient, or because there's so many South Africans outside of the country?
It's not really materially a significant number of people that are voting abroad, but yes, we're seeing an increase in the number of the people that are indicating.
It's not a good statement, though, is it?
They want to vote abroad, and some of them it's because of work. You see, a lot of them are expatriates who are taking opportunities across our borders, and abroad. It does not mean overseas. It could be in Lesotho, it could be in Botswana, it could be in Mozambique, within the neighboring states. But yes, we do have a significant number coming, especially in Europe, from Great Britain.
So you don't want to see those numbers going up. Did you hit your voter registration target?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we've hit the 75% mark, which for a country that does not have a compulsory voting system, this is an excellent voter participation of those who are eligible to vote.
How do you deal with parties that target journalists, for example? Because that's obviously high on quite a few people's radar. What happens to them?
Well, the operation of our Act is very much clear that if there's any alleged transgression, that matter is reported to the Commission, then we'll put it through our due process, which includes referring those matters to our Electoral Offence Office. And when they make recommendations to the CEO, it is then that the Commission then will take the appropriate action in the event that the findings require a certain particular action. In some instances, some of the matters is that we do also engage the parties and discuss with them and draw to their attention if there are certain things that may be on the borderline or of concern as far as the transgressions of the electoral laws. As I said, there are those that are part of what are prohibited conduct, and there are then those that are part of the electoral code, which kicks in immediately the proclamation takes place.
Sign up. Okay. And what about pre-election violence? Are you concerned about that? And if so, what would spark that?
Well, as our mandate states very clearly, our mandate requires that we must conduct the elections, and those elections must be conducted under conditions that are free and fair. And that is during and post-elections. We need to have conditions that are free from violence, and they're free from intimidation and all sorts of unbecoming conduct. And those matters, if they relate to criminal activities, we then deal with them together with our security officials. And if it is matters that end up requiring civil action, the Commission will then refer those matters to the Electoral Court.
Glenn Mashinini, I know you're going to be a very busy man right up into the elections. Thanks for sharing what it is that you do.
Thank you, Jane.
Now that's our show for tonight. News is next.